video covers IGCSE Biology Objective 1.2.4 on the 2025 CAIE syllabus to construct and use dichotomous keys based on identifiable features. So what is a dichotomous key? Well, it is a tool that's used by scientists to identify unfamiliar organisms by using visible characteristics. So what we see here is an example of what a key would look like. And so we see there are various features that would separate the organisms into different categories. So the feature of fur is the fur separation. The second feature is feathers. The third one is the type of fertilization. And the last one is if there are gills present. So organisms will be divided repeatedly into various categories that I've just gone over. With each division, more information is revealed about the specific features of the organism in question, and when the organism no longer shares any features with any other organism, then it has been identified. So if you have an unknown organism, you would then go through this series of steps to determine what type of vertebrate that organism is. So how do we use a dichotomous key? So basically, keys pose a series of questions that can be answered either by yes or no. And depending on if you take the yes branch, then you would go in one direction. And if you take the no branch, then you would go in another direction and follow the series of steps until you reach the end. And so the end is identifying the organism. As we continue using a dichotomous key, we will see that the key on the left is what we call a branching key. A dichotomous key is actually written out. It doesn't have the branches and it doesn't usually have pictures. The picture or the organism that you have is what you're trying to identify. And then you would use this written key that is written out in a series of steps that each step poses the two questions, the yes or no questions. So if, let's say, I had something that was this organism that was orange and white striped, but I didn't know what it was, I would start with step 1 and I would look at the two questions. Does it have fur or does it not have fur? And it does not have fur, so then it tells me to go to step number 2. So in step number 2, the questions that I'm asked are, does it have feathers or does it not have feathers? Well, it does not have feathers, so then it tells me go to step 3. So I continue to step 3, and then it's asking me about the type of fertilization. Well, fish, this type of organism typically has external fertilization, so I go to step 4. In step 4, the two questions are, does it have gills or does it not have gills? Well, according to the physical features of this organism, it has gills. So what this tells me is that this organism is a fish. Now let's say I had the dog and I didn't know what it was. So I would then go back to step 1 and now start the key over again because it's a completely different organism. So I need to always start at the top. So the word dichotomous key is broken up into two parts. Di means two and divided, and chotomous means divided. So the word means divided into two parts. And basically this is a tool that scientists use to identify unknown organisms. So what it does is it leads you through the series of questions that continuously divide into two parts and towards further questions. And what you do as a scientist is you use known characteristics to identify an unknown specimen. So you might be given the name of the specimen or a category that specimen belongs to, or you might just be given a letter, identify if it's organism A, B, or C. So in this particular branching key, you're not identifying a name of an organism, but whether it's organism A, B, or C. So on a test question, then that's what you would answer, either A or B or C.